I was listening to Mike's Philippine retirement, and he had kind of an interesting subject there. I'll get a thumbs up right away. And on Mike's Philippine retirement, he was talking about those who get deported back to their own country, let's say particularly, I don't know, USA, whatever. And here's how it works. If you've had a long overstay in this country, long overstay means, 6 months and above, it starts to get a little ugly, not bad, but as time goes by, it gets worse. Then, say you've been, basically in this country illegally because your visa has never been renewed and you suffer the consequences from it while you're in the Philippines, and comes time, whatever rhyme or reason, you get deported and you go back to USA. What happens is it's pretty much a one-way ticket, according to what I was listening to. Well, it's like obvious information for me, but I'm just kind of repeating what Mike's Philippine retirement show is all about. If you, while you were living in the United States, for example, if you had legal issues in the United States, criminal, not civil, but criminal, if you've served time in jail in the United States, have any bench warrants, child support pending for a lot of years, and have gotten into any trouble in the United States, it's pretty much a guarantee that it is a one-way ticket, that you'll never be able to come back to the Philippines again. And I listened very carefully what he had to say. It's not that it's new news to me, but it just kind of reinforces things. Whatever business you had in the Philippines, you have to put on, well, kind of a permanent hold, because if you have expectations to come back into the Philippines, that may not be a reality if you have had criminal records, bench warrants, all kinds of shit in the country that you came back from, such as the United States. Needless to say, it'd be a very difficult task to ever get back, if not impossible. So if you cause a lot of trouble in your country and you have a criminal, not civil, but criminal record, the chances of you being able to return to the Philippines, for example, if you have been a long-term overstayer to begin with, and then you had any other criminal activity in the Philippines going on, you've had court cases, you've had this, you've had that, you've had this, you've had that, whatever, it all adds up, To make a soup, you got to put the ingredients in it. Until all the ingredients are in it, it's not a soup yet. And this kind of applies to that situation. That upon deportation, it would be a permanent blacklist ever returning back into the Philippines. All the unfinished business that you had criminally, bench warrants, the whole bit, will make it pretty much an impossibility to actually, you could plead with an embassy, you could do this, you could do that, and do that, but your past record kind of stays with you, is what happens is. And the Philippines government kind of ascertains all this, they have this information. And what happens is actually upon your return to the United States, chances are they will take your passport away, number one. And you have no means of coming back to the Philippines because you will have a permanent blacklist. All this information is gathered, and upon any efforts to want to return to the Philippines after you've been ousted out under these circumstances, these particular circumstances, it's pretty much a one-way ticket. And that's it. Now, you could overstay in this country and you could just pay your fines and fees. It might total out to, according to how long you've overstayed, according to what situation was going on. Was it the COVID that you didn't do it? Was it administrative things that happened that you couldn't renew or something? You know, you can pay the fines and fees and all that and remedy this. When you start going over 6 months and you haven't done an exit and so forth, then it starts to lean in the direction of, going from mediocre to high level alert as far as long as time goes by. For example, if you had eluded the immigration for lots of years, okay, then it becomes really serious and you are pretty much a candidate for being blacklisted. If you add to the fire and throw fuel on the fire, if you've had any legal cases going on in the Philippines, I'm talking about cases, court cases, that's double indemnity. Basically, you're not coming back. You're just not coming back. And that's kind of how the system works. And you don't have to listen to Mike's Philippines retirement to figure this all out. It's actually pretty elementary, but I don't normally watch his channel, but I don't know, either he makes up things as he goes. I don't really know. I know one British guy that comes up with these crazy stories all the time just to have a show. Another British guy. As I said, I'm bad on names and all that. If I don't watch them all the time, chances are I'm going to forget who they are and what their what their channel is. Really, it doesn't show much interest to me. But I've listened to a lot of things that have to do with immigration issues and that they're talking about. There are remedies to certain things, but I think in certain people's cases, triple indemnity. I mean, if you've had big problems, in the country that you came from, whether it be United States or whatever it might be, that doesn't go away. So let's say you've been posted out of the Philippines because of overstay, and you're deemed to be, having to return to your country. That's pretty typical. But if you've also had criminal charges against you, well, that makes it a lot more difficult to come back. And if you've been convicted in the Philippines of any crime, then there's no talking about this, really. There's no means of you ever coming back to this country at all. That's the double indemnity, then triple if you've had a record in the United States, a criminal record, that is. There's no chance. So it's kind of a situation where you have to think and say, if you have plans to do something here in the Philippines, cancel it. Because chances are, not chances, it's more like definite, that you're not going to be able to come back into the Philippines, according to what your situation is. But if you combine all these factors going on, Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. If you're talking about Mr. Jordan. Oh, come on, guy. That's just a rumor that he spread out, and I really don't want to talk about the creep, really, but in regards to that, when his lips are moving, that's all I can tell you. I could save a lot of time and toil. I don't know anything about that. Rumors spread, well, by him, of course, but, yeah. Now, it's really, sometimes it's hard to get information even from your own attorney. You got to understand something. When you're dealing with something here in the Philippines, you're not their only client. It seems my attorney is a little bit more communicative than his while you're on that topic, but even he doesn't get back to me sometimes, or his assistant, because, well, every client is important to him, and I'm like not number one on the list, which he's told me in the past, when I'm trying to say, okay, clue me in on this, clue me in on that, clue me in on this. Sometimes he doesn't get back to me because, well, it's either after hours, he don't want to talk about business, or it might be a weekend, or he might be busy with a lot of other clients, but he always winds up getting a hold of me if there's any new information to share about something. That's what lawyers do. But you got to remember, you got to stop being selfish because, chances are that you're not the lawyer's only client. They have 100 clients, and their cases are just as equally important than your own case. They're not going to play favoritism with you, the lawyers. They're just not going to do that. And in my case, he's not playing any favoritism to me, nor is his partner. It's just the way. It's just the way it is. If they have something to report, or something to discuss, or some papers to sign, or something, then they'll contact you. Yeah, I've gotten frustrated a few times with my attorneys when, hey, I just asked you to do this for me. It's not a big thing, and I don't hear from them. Of course, that makes you frustrated and say, man, are you on my side or what? And they are. But your anxiousness demands that, hey, return my call now. Okay, but it doesn't work that way, even with my own. But definitely, mine is definitely communicative with me. But on his terms. I mean, as far as like, hey, if I'm busy, man, just leave me the fuck alone, really. That's with any lawyer. They can't get back to you all the time, but mine does. It may take a few days extra for him to, write me or text me or something, but he always does. And meanwhile, you're frustrated in the meantime because maybe you had a very pertinent question to ask and you want an answer to. That kind of makes you a little bit frustrated. But you got to understand you're not their only client. But yeah, I could say in regards to him, my lawyer, he's generally pretty good at getting back to me, which is important to me because I can't just walk into his office every day because I'm not living anywhere near my attorney. I'm living like 90 miles away, give or take. And they can't be responsive all the time. And yeah, I have my moments of frustration with, hey man, it's just a simple question. Okay, and I have two. So when I write to one, I write to the other, CC to the other one. And if neither one of them gets back to me, I'm saying, oh, you can look at it this way, they're snubbing me. But they're not. I'm not their only client. They have other paperwork to do and so forth. But generally speaking, yeah, they're very good at getting back to me. In general, you can't push your lawyer because then they'll start ignoring you. And I've gone through this with mine. I absolutely have. You just let them do their job. But I will say that the most important thing is that you cooperate with your attorney, no matter what your issue is, whatever case you got going against somebody or whatever, let them do their job. I don't know when there was the last live stream because sometimes I can't even find his channel, but all I know is that he's had a lot of stuff posted on his community page, which is just videos of me knocking me and everything else, and the usual bullshit. He's lied about everything before, what makes you believe you, if you could believe him now. Oh, I'd be ecstatic if they put him in Bikutan or any other jail system. I'd be ecstatic about it, but you don't see me jumping up and down. I'm not on camera anyway, but I'd be ecstatic if they did. I know nothing of that, and it's just another ruse from him to either gain sympathy for people or throw people off or feel sorry for him or something like that, Mr. Viking. I received a very nasty email yesterday, and the language spoke his name. No matter what name he used on the email, it was something that I'm going to keep on doing this, I'm going to keep on doing this, I'm going to keep on doing this, and well, no matter what name they use on my email, I pretty much know who it is. Yep. Of course, I keep all these things. I've had emails where people were just, intimidating me. You got to drop the case, you got to drop the case, you got to drop the case, or else. In one of those situations, or else. I'm not intimidated by those things. In fact, I utilize them rather than getting intimidated by it. Here's the truth about something here. A lot of these trolls are the same people. Oh, you got 100 people that hate you. It was said in the email. Well, the language spoke very loud as to who it would be. Well, the truth is, you have trolls out there, but they have lots of sock accounts. Well, you might think that somebody's under very adverse conditions with the community, when you may be talking about a handful of people, not 100 people, that go under these sock accounts. And even when there's a live show going on, you'll see comments coming in there from this one, that one. You never heard of them before. You never even heard of these people. These are sock accounts. They're saying, oh, God, this guy's a hateful guy, or he did this, he did that, he did this, he did that. It's the same people. It's the same people. Same people. It doesn't take much to figure it out. Now, if you had to listen to everybody, that, I'd be the most famous person in the world. I mean, they should do a television show, a drama show about all the things I supposedly did. Maybe I'd make millions of dollars on it. Who knows? But fact is, it's usually the same group of people. You got a handful of people or so that decided, I don't like this guy for whatever reason, whether they're influenced by somebody or whatever. But it's the same group of people, just using phony names, phony handles. It's not what you think. It's not my first rodeo with YouTube. Let's just put it that way. I think I'll warm up this tea here. It's not my first rodeo with this kind of shit on YouTube. Been on here for quite a while, and I've seen and heard it all. And I know the way the system works, on here with people. I can fully understand how someone's upset that they got themselves keywords. They got themselves keywords. They got themselves into a kind of a bad situation. Okay, well, I get it. And you're bitter, and, you're spitting out, venom all the time. Whether it's under your own name, your show, or whether it's under some sock account name or whatever it might be. You obviously know who it is. Just like putting a channel on, it's not supposed to be this person. And he's speaking in third party, Well, I think this guy is a jerk, meaning himself. He's talking to himself, really, meaning himself, but trying to say that, hey, that's not, I'm not this person that you think I am. Well, as you know, it's translucent. I mean, it's just, we know We know who it is, obviously. You have to be awfully gullible and naive or just plain stupid to not know who that person is. You got to think, who would have a reason to write you and intimidate you and all that stuff? I mean, it doesn't take brain science to figure it out. I get those emails every now and again. Timmy, of course. And this guy writes me all the time, and one day he's on my side, one day he's on the other person's side, and then he does really strange things. He sends me a link to a movie that has nothing to do with any issues going on at all. He just goes off into this tangent where he sends me movies. And he's not my friend. And, he writes to me sometimes like he's supporting me. Then he'll intimidate me to drop the case. But then he'll send me a link to a fucking movie or something. Just really weird shit, man. God, what we're dealing with on here is just, sometimes it's scary. But, yeah, I get these emails every now and again, which I had one last night. Oh, God, the other phone was charged. I can't go off my live and share screen because I'm stupid with that shit, okay? Or else I would actually share. And by the way, no names mentioned, but I actually contacted somebody just yesterday. No names. Not who you think it is. I actually spoke to somebody who's supposed to be adverse to me. And no names mentioned, as I said. Male, female, whatever, no clues. Had a pretty good conversation. Haven't talked to this person in an awfully long time. I'm not going to divulge what the conversation was about, but it was very interesting. I'm going to leave it at that. Somebody from the past who was supposedly very adverse to me. But you wouldn't know it from the conversation. And I'm sorry, I don't do things like I'm not going to record what the person says and blah, blah, blah. That's between me and the person. But anyway, Mike's Philippines retirement. I actually listened to a couple of shows that had to do with immigration, had to do with this and that and this and that. Very interesting to listen to, and how the system actually works. Now, in regards to things like deportation, there's something which you call a standard deportation issue. And I forgot what they call the others as far as the terminology, but there's one they call standard deportation, which is low issue on a totem pole. And that could take sometimes 2 or 3 years, according to how busy the department is to remedy or find resolution to a situation where deportation is the issue. Kind of interesting reading, actually. If you read this stuff, you'll understand. Actually is. But it's called standard. That's how they define it, standard, where they don't take a lot of precedence on that, heavy-duty cases or something like that. They take more precedence on. But standard is something that kind of hangs in there for a while until they come up with a resolution. So you're not like number one on their list. You're not a pogo or something like that. Yeah. What's for breakfast? I really don't know yet. Ah, shit, I was up at 4 o'clock. Still got 6 hours sleep in. I was up at 4:15, actually. Usually I'll go back to bed and just get another hour or so sleep or something, but I was up, so I figured, I'm up. Let me let the dogs out and whatever. Go through some YouTube stuff, and I was reading Mike's Philippines retirement and some other things like that. I think I was up, I'm up. No, I have no idea what's for breakfast today. I don't know. I don't usually know. I don't have any cereal here left. I haven't been to Cebu in a while. And there's certain cereals I will buy that you just can't get here. Otherwise, you want to eat cornflakes or some crap like that. I don't mind just having some cereal. I'll probably just wind up having oatmeal with blueberries or something. That sounds good, actually. It's not even the oatmeal I want. I want the steel cut or rolled oats, and these are just pretty much standard issue type of, but it's better than a kick in the ass. You just don't want to wake up and eat a bunch of saturated fats all the time. What's the equivalent? Like morning links, it's some kind of beef links or something, I believe. I also have some, what's the name of the company? Johnsonville sausage franks, whatever you want to call them. I could make that too, but unless I boil it and then cook it, I mean, it's pretty much pre-cooked, I guess, but if you want to get all the saturated fat out of it, you just boil the shit out of it, and then you want to brown it up or something, you could do that, put it in the air fryer. I'm too lazy to do that. Well, it doesn't take much. I mean, just go out in the freezer and get it, and, just do what you have to do. But I've been kind of trying to avoid some of the saturated fat shit. Been changing things around a lot. We had to go downtown early evening yesterday. We just walked instead of getting a trike or having to use the electric bike. Let's just go walk. So we walked most of the way, and then the rest we went on the beach, then to our destination. But couldn't think of what to eat. I went to buy some pizza, 2 boxes. I could eat pizza a couple times a week, but I don't. $4.95 for a pizza. So basically, you buy 2 pizzas, you're spending about $18 for pizza. Well, I know compared to the United States, you'd be paying triple that amount or more. But yeah, we spent, and I was perfectly happy with, I'd soaked some lentils. Basically, I was going to cook them last night to have dinner. I don't just eat plain lentils. I mean, I will add things to it. It makes a good meal, and it's really healthy. But we'll probably have that today. I will have it anyway. If she wants to eat some of it, she's welcome to, but I eat things like that, yeah. Metabolism slows down with age, yeah. Well, you say eat what you want, but that's kind of a yes or no thing, John Smith. If you want to eat what you want, you're basically giving in to your longevity. You're basically saying, I gave up. I'm not a person to give up on anything. But, the old saying, enjoy your retirement, do what you have to do, drink what you want to drink, smoke what you want to smoke, eat what you want to eat, no matter whether it's highly caloric, highly fat, high cholesterol. You could do all that. Drink all you want. I don't particularly want any of these problems. You're already going to deal with issues as you get older. Sooner or later, there's always some issue that pops up that you were. Good morning. There's always some issue that pops up, Not always, but some people don't have any issues at all. I mean, seriously. The lucky ones. But if you got bad back situations, arthritis, or whatever you might have, they tend to worsen in time. You can't really avoid that. I anticipate that. I mean, I know. But as far as you're saying, well, eat what you want. We only live once. I understand what you're saying. Remember, you got to carry your body around. You live in your body. I don't want any more problems while I'm still alive that I want to suffer with. So, does that mean I eat a perfect diet? No, it's not perfect. I will indulge, as I've always said, still will. I indulge in this or that sometimes. Sometimes I eat some ice cream. I don't buy potato chips or Fritos or any shit like that. I don't eat potato chips. I don't drink soda, you know, especially. I try to limit my sugar. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to grab a cupcake if I happen to be in the house or a donut if I happen to be hungry at the time. But the problem is that when you start eating a lot of sugar, your body demands more. Next thing you know, you're eating a lot more sugar and you get caught up into this crap where it's a nonstop thing and you're eating every sugary food. And no, I don't have that attitude, John. I got to live in my own body. I'm already doing something that's not healthy for me, and I don't want to. I don't want to engage in other bad habits as far as what I'm consuming. It just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I know. You want to live your life, you're retired, you want to do what you want. I understand that completely. I'm not ignorant to that statement of yours, go eat, have a good time, enjoy your retirement. I just can't do that as far as food. I just, no. I get a guilty complex. When I had pizza last night, they're not big slices of pizza, but I had at least 5 slices. And you got, whether it's real cheese or not on there, or pepperoni. Who the hell knows what the hell it is. But I like pizza. That's the one thing I couldn't live without. I don't have that every week, nothing like that, no. But I enjoy it when I have it. I kind of doctor it up with my own stuff on there too. If I have grated Parmesan cheese in a bottle, I'll add that. I might add a little olive oil. I might add a little garlic to it or something on there. But if I had to eat pizza all the time, no, that wouldn't be healthy. Look, if you got enough problems as it is, you don't want to further your problems, just to put it that way. Why deal with more health issues if you don't have to? There's some things that you can't help as you get older. Sometimes things develop, and there might be things you don't even know about. It just happens. Your body's giving out, your whole metabolic system is breaking down because you decided to eat a lot of sugar, drink a lot of alcohol, and blah, blah, blah. It's going to have its effect. Everything has its effect. There's a cause and effect to everything. Metabolism slows down with age. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But I'm becoming a lot more active. That's why instead of being lazy and taking it's not a far distance to really walk. I definitely got my steps in yesterday, which made me feel good because if I have a day where I'm not doing a lot of walking and I didn't get on the treadmill or something, I feel guilty. Absolutely, I feel guilty. Because if I was laying around that day and all I was doing is stuff around the house and just watching TV or something, I feel guilty. I absolutely do. But when I go out for a good long walk, get my steps in, whether it's on the treadmill or just a good walk into town instead of taking a trike or taking the electric bike or whatever, walk instead. And I don't get out of breath. I could walk for many miles on a level surface without finding any kind of distress or getting out of breath or something. Of course, your heart rate's going to go up a bit, but it does anyway. Even when you walk, you don't have to be running. It's the way it is. You got movement, your heart rate's going to go up. As long as your heart rate doesn't go over a certain number and it's not, sustained at that number, you have no problem. I'm sorry, I don't mean to turn this into a health show. But it's a long answer to John Smith thing where eat what you like, mate. We only live once. Yeah. I told that to my brother, saying things like, well, I mean, he was under that impression. Hey, I've had to worry about. Well, I've actually heard that from a lot of foreigners. I mean, I'm not worried about getting a heart attack. I'm not worried about when I die. I'm retired. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to smoke, chain drink, whatever. I'm going to eat what I want. And meanwhile, if you ever met these people, they got this huge paunch in their stomach. They're huge. it's obvious that they're eating the wrong foods, and they expect to, to get these young chicks, here in the Philippines, they want to prolong that pleasure, right, of being with somebody who could be your granddaughter or great granddaughter. Oh, you want that kind of action. But you're not going to get that kind of action if you can't perform, if you get out of breath just trying to do it. And you're not going to be around to enjoy that little carnal stuff if you're out of shape. So you got to think in those terms too. Digi, I don't know who you are, but I'm good. Thank you. So we'll get off that subject. I think you guys know it pretty well. You got people that are dropping like flies here on YouTube, and the commonality with a lot of them is diet and obesity and stuff like that. They make their own direction. What's the title of your live stream mean? Is there an update or anything? I wouldn't tell you if there was. I told you I'm not going to be discussing much of any legal details. I could say what I did on my show today about how communication with your attorney is very important. I'm not going beyond that. You got to ask the other guy, not me. Not me. Told you I'm done with giving vital details about what's going on. You just have to find out from the other guy, but unfortunately, trying to find out from the other guy, you're going to get a lie. So it doesn't help you out by asking him. Yeah, as far as someone mentioned that supposed to be going to Bikitan sometime this month, the 14th or something was the date. I know nothing of that. Just another lie. I know nothing of that. Nothing. I don't have anything to do with it, if it was true. And I know nothing of it. And you would think that I probably would, but I don't know. No, it's okay that you asked, no problem. People are curious about shit, and I understand. This has become a pretty big drama on here, I understand people's curiosity. I may know as little as you do. That's possible. I might know as little as you do. I could tell you there's been no resolution on a certain issue at all, which was filed all the way back in April. So I don't know what to say on that because, well, basically there's actually nothing to say, actually, to tell you the truth. That I could tell you. I have not heard anything on that at all. For every resolution, there's a revolution. Invisible Friend is back. I have to tell you, I don't think I've seen another YouTuber that has so many channels against them. No, there probably isn't. Punch my name in there, and there's so many references to me and so many channels and so many people talking about me. Like I said earlier on my show, it's probably a handful of people going under stock accounts. It's not 100 people. I received an email from somebody that was pretty obvious who it was from, of course, under a false handle or email name, whatever. Pretty much intimidating me and basically saying, I'm going to be on you, I'm going to be on you, I'm going to be on you until I get my way. Well, you have to take a wild guess who that might be. Okay? Yeah. Yes, just very intrigued. The situation sets a precedent. It's very unique and also interesting. And Briskets and Lottery Tickets is back. Hello. I'm very surprised this whole affair hasn't gone viral. Well, it's not even really viral in the Philippines genre community, really. Nevertheless, outside of it, there's a handful of people with sock accounts. That's all it is. Not all these people hate on me. There's probably a handful of people, besides the obvious person who has reason to hate me. I guess this situation's not really great. No, you can make you can make a series out of this on TV, on Netflix. Seriously, I can make some money on this. this would be an excellent, if I kept every single detail of this. Boy, there's some writers would have a heyday with this. Oh, the California fires, not to change the subject, pretty bad shit. There's a few stars that lost their homes. Oh, they got insurance. They're going to rebuild. And, you know, a lot of people get hurt. A few got killed, 5, 6, 7, or 8. The fire is just, they couldn't do anything. So big controversy going on about the water system in the Palisades there. And the mayor is looking really bad. Oh my God, they have to resign. They had emptied a small dam that contained, what is it? Is it 100 million gallons or something for maintenance? And believe it or not, to save money, they had shut off most of the fire hydrants in there. And this is why, well, it was the Santa Ana winds that was the major problem with this to contain it, which is known for there. But a lot of controversy going on, like the Maui fire in Hawaii, but this was bigger. And all these beautiful coastal homes destroyed. But, most of these people had insurance on that shit. They'll rebuild again, or may just decide to take the money, whatever, and just go somewhere else. But California's always been a disaster zone, being on you know, an incredible fault line and all that. And because of all the historically speaking, all the fires have been there. And what do you call it? The Santa Ana winds that go through there that could be 100 miles per hour. And that's going to feed a fire. I know, you're going to get blocked. I know. And Visible says, I never saw any one live stream with 72 people on it. It was just about you. Yeah, well, soccer counts too. People in deserts don't mix. You would think so, wouldn't you? Just like that joke I made, well, actually, it was Sam Kennison on a stand-up. He said, all this aid is being going to these desert countries, and, food and stuff, which never goes to them, most of it. And I can't do his stand-up routine, but what he was basically saying, Sam Kinison, was that, why we give him all the aid? And he just kind of impresses upon people, making believe he's picking up some sand. He says, folks, this is sand. You can't grow anything in sand. Why don't they just pick up and go to a fertile region and live, and they could grow their own food? Novel idea, huh? He's right. He made a stand-up over this, but he was actually factual. The United States sends aid to these, whether they're Middle Eastern countries or whatever it might be, and they're living in deserts. So if you're going to live in a desert, what the fuck? What'd you expect? Where the land is, a lot of it is just not fertile, and you can't grow anything other than possibly some kind of desert palms or something. Move out. Move out. Go somewhere where there's real soil where you could actually plant crops. I mean, so he made a lot of sense on that little comedy thing he did. He made a lot of sense. Heidi could do with some time living in a desert. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know. Well, let's not get into all that. Make this kind of a cool show. Tone it down a little bit here. My girlfriend pretty much scringes every time I do a show on here. It's like, oh God, tell me you're gonna do a live show again. I see it in her face. I know, and I know what she means. I know exactly. But as I was saying in the beginning of the show, I was listening to somebody else's show. He's talking about immigration and overstayers and all that stuff. You're okay if you overstay 6 months or so. You pay the fees and fines and all that. Get your situation. But if you start overstaying a lot longer than 6 months, gets into years and all that stuff, that's when it gets serious. And the fees, I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of fees involved in it other than what you guys know. There's a lot of different fees thrown in there and penalties. It's 500 pesos a month, but then there's a lot of other fees added in there. So by the time the shit hits the fan, you're putting out a ton of money. If you've been an overstayer for years and years and years, whew, shit, the bucks that you got to put out on there, it's quite a bit of money, man. It's quite a bit, seriously speaking. And the less chances you have of ever being able to come back to the country. But as I said and started to say, because this was on a show, if you've been an overstayer for that long, and you have other trouble in the Philippines, you actually have a court case against you, things like that. No names mentioned here, please. It's going to make it very difficult, if not possible, ever, to ever, once you get deported or after you've been convicted, serve your time, whatever, not to be able to come back to the country under any circumstance. You're blacklisted for good. You like personalities like that? Oh, you mean oh, okay. Not sure what you're making reference to on that. But yeah, the talk of the town, yeah, I mean, people devoting channels to me. Seems kind of crazy, doesn't it? You know what it really is? People just want to find a reason to hate somebody else. That's all it is. They want to continue the drama. That's all it is. That's all it is. They can make skits about you. They could talk about you. I've read all these horrendous comments on some of the copycat channels, just horrendous comments of hate. And I'm thinking, where the hell does this come from? Who is this guy they're talking about? According to these people, I've committed every crime in a book. They should do a goddamn movie of the week about me, according if you listen to these trolls. I'm sitting there thinking, I did all that, huh? No, I didn't. Of course not. But it makes good drama. It makes good drama to answer somebody's statement, actually, that I made on here and on the comments. You got people with sock accounts. That's the bottom line. Peckerwood, definitely. Turtle Man's in there. You got the whole group. You got people going on the sock account. They'll make a comment and they'll switch over to their other account and make another hateful comment. No, just maybe a handful of people. A handful of people. Let's see. You're a one-of-a-kind character. They can't help but be... In fact, that's the word. They're fascinated with me. Be fascinated by you. You're a bit of a villain from the 80s TV. A villain? Why am I a villain? Am I a villain because I speak up for my rights? Am I a villain that, takes offense to calling me a name that is quite unnecessary to call me, one particular name? No, that's some shitty stuff, man. Am I a villain because I took somebody to court when everybody didn't have the fucking balls to do it? I'm not a villain for doing that. I have every right to do it. You got to think, change your way of thinking. It's easy for someone to say, oh, give the guy a break or something. Why? After all that's been said and done, I'm supposed to find a place deep in my heart to feel compassion for somebody of his nature? I don't think so. I just don't think so. That's long gone. There's no compassion for this individual. There's none. There never will be. That's it. Then he does something extra to me to make it worse. And you know what that was? To his girlfriend. And I'm supposed to give in? I'm supposed to say, oh, I'm just going to dismiss this case. No. That ain't going to happen. Especially after that. Was there a possibility before that I would have done that? No, I still would have dismissed the case. No. But, however, because of what he did with her, oh, man, forget about it. Putting my life in jeopardy? Oh, I'm sure. But they hide. They hide on. They don't want to tell you who they are. The dynamics of your personality are a bit overpowering in a villain way. That's what I meant, to not insult. Well, I don't see myself as a villain. I just see myself as a defender, not a villain. And if somebody wants to make me controversial, I can't help that. I can't stop them, but it just means that I am a fascinating person. For somebody to spend that much time on me and devote shows to recording what I put on here and have hours and hours of conversations all about me, I must be pretty fascinating to them. I'm just one of these people that don't take shit from anybody. I never did. Oh, excuse me. Let me rephrase that really, because I've taken shit from a lot of people on here, but as I said, there's that imaginary line in the sand. It's how far you go. That's when shit will hit the fan with the other individual. And that's exactly what I did. Not just shows, but wild video productions. So, yeah. Well, it just proves that they have a lot of time on their hands. That's for damn sure. Maybe too much time. They just want me to squirm away and walk away from this. Despite what they say or do, here I am. I'm not going to hide like Popeye does when somebody threatens to come to his house or something and he goes offline for about a year. I'm not Popeye. New York City rules. I don't know about that. No, I would never see myself back in New York. Only for the food. Only for the food. And just, maybe some memorabilia. Go back to the town I was born and raised in. Walk the streets, with protection, of course. If you know what that town turned into, you'd understand. I'd have to have a guide. You think I'm kidding? It's a great town, known as the city of homes. But to walk the streets that I did, walk the streets that my parents walked, maybe places we lived in, that would kind of be interesting. Cases, cases, cases. I've had enough with cases. Except there might be a second one. Well, not might, it's pending. But we'll see how it goes. You understand, when somebody's nonstop, okay, let's say you have a local person that's, I don't know, let me make up something here. You have a local person that's always asking you for money. You always tell them, no, I can't give you any money. And then they persisting all the time. Come on, man, come on, man. Eventually you would tell them to fuck off. Enough. I'm not giving you no money. That's the way it is with me. Whether it's beggars on the street, enough. I can't empty my pockets. I'll go broke if I had to help everyone that came up to me to ask me for money. I'm very selective who I give money to. And I do it on my own terms, not theirs. And I'll do it out of my heart, not because I'm forced to. Like, look at me, I'm in bad shape, I'm on the streets. I didn't put you there. And I understand your situation's bad. But if I had to help every person that ever came up to me over here or in Cebu City or something, I'd be broke. Oh shit, yeah. I know, I'm glad your daughter's was here. Yeah. What do I smell? That smells good. Oh, this morning?
Yeah, marathon.
Okay, well, do what you gotta do. Zumba. Oh, I gotta put some shorts on or something here so my nuts don't hang out. Yeah. I don't think the boys want to see my nuts. Yeah, when you wear briefs, you gotta watch out when you lean back on a chair. And what else was I looking at? That was interesting. What else was what else was that show? Oh, there's another British guy, and he's talking about how his name. And I think this guy makes up stuff as he goes along. I can almost swear on it. Supposedly his neighbors were having a party with lechon, and some people were supposed to. Well, I mean, I could see this happening actually, but and how they all supposed to put some money in on the lechon at this party. There was an argument over, you didn't put your part in on the lechon, and one guy takes out a machete that looks like it's so long it could whip around your head, and the other woman living there comes out with a machete and is yelling, and it didn't come to any blood or anything, but yeah, that stuff does. I try not to, I try not to listen to all this negative shit in the Philippines, but it gets to a point you start thinking, why the fuck did I move here? I don't want to think that way because I'm happy where I'm at, and I know shit does go on here in the Philippines, and I know that when Filipinos get riled up, they get riled up, brother. They get riled up. No question about that. Out comes you know, the weaponry of choice. You know what that is. Big Kevin found out the hard way. No, I'm not going to be doing 1,000 cases. I'm just going to get all this shit over. In fact, and I have I have plans. I have plans. I can't talk about certain things. I have plans. As I said, you want to find out anything legal going on, you could talk to Goober. But unfortunately, if you talk to Goober, it's unfortunate you're going to get false information because he's not going to tell you the truth. So goes to stand to say that, you know, when his lips are moving, he's lying, so you're never really going to get information out of him. So there's nothing I really could tell you that I even want to tell you as to what's going on. Because quite frankly, I'm kind of tired of talking about all this legal shit on here. And I find it very welcome we could actually talk about something else when I put a show on. Show, call it a live stream, call it a show. It's not like we have the dancing girls here and all that shit. It's not a show. And teaching a lesson. Well, you could try teaching somebody a lesson, but some people are bad students. Let's put it that way. And they don't want to learn their lesson because they think they know it all. Hey, man, I don't pretend that I know it all about anything. Most things, I don't. I'm your average lay person. I might have a little more intellect than some people do, but I'm just your average guy. Well, I'm above average in some ways. I can be pretty coy when I want to. I could lead a person to a body of water to drink and then find out that it's salt water. Let's put it that way. You want to call that revenge? I don't know. But I mean, I'm smart at what I do. And I take time to think about doing things before I do it most of the time. Not all of the time, but most of the time, yes, I do. But it involves me and it's something serious. I guarantee you on that. Not many guarantees in life, but I'll guarantee you on that. That a lot of stuff I do is thought about first. But I had an interesting talk with somebody, actually, just yesterday. As I can't reveal who it was, but you'd be very surprised. That I can tell you, you'd be very surprised. No, not him. Not him. We have nothing to say to each other, man, except in the fucking courtroom. And not even that. Okay, anything interesting you guys want to add? If you have any questions, let me know. As I said, don't ask me about legal issues because that's not a topic here, and it's not going to be. Unfortunately, as much as you have all this anticipation of the drama, you're just going to have to find out from different resources because I think I got chess master. I think no, not even that. I don't even know how to play chess. Nor would I have the patience to actually play chess. There's no way in the world. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry, I had to talk to my lady. Yeah, as far as that stuff goes, guys, just and you hear all the rumors in the world that you want. Don't mean that they're true. Okay, just keep that in mind too. People are just rumor mongers. That's all it is on here. And I got to tell you the truth. I get more enjoyment from just listening to some stuff on YouTube. And contrary to what you might believe, it's not always the trolls shows I'm listening to and all that. I've actually learned a hell of a lot from some YouTubers about things I never knew about. Just listen to the right shows. You might actually enjoy yourself on YouTube instead of getting involved in all the goddamn drama. You might actually enjoy yourself. Listen to something that's worthwhile listening to. Fuck the drama. If it doesn't affect your life, then, whatever. Unless you have that much time on your hands, which I feel sorry for you if you actually do. There's people that get really enthralled with this shit. They just get really, really... Oh, what do we got here? I gotta put more waters. My lentils from yesterday. They've soaked in water. Now it's all soaked up. Oh, gosh. Now I'm gonna have to cook this shit. I didn't feel like it. But... Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do that now. So hold on a second here. Oh God, it was soaked long enough, but they've sucked up all the water, so almost dry. So now I gotta cook these puppies. And I'll probably have some for breakfast. You asked me what I'm having for breakfast. And yes, I think lentils are going to be a part of my breakfast. I do believe so. Hold on a second. Oy vey. You're probably thinking, who the fuck eats lentils for breakfast? I do. I don't always eat a traditional breakfast of toast and eggs and shit all the time, and I certainly don't have bacon with it. That's rare. I try to at least do some healthy things for myself. Can't do everything bad to yourself. You got to do something that's healthy. I mean, Christ, man, push yourself if you have to. Just push yourself. Push yourself. It's not that hard to try and just eat healthy, at least eat healthy. I see this all the time, even right here in town. The weekends, you get a lot of foreigners visit here, The majority, not all, but the majority of foreigners that I see out here, it's pretty sad. They're all kind of like, paunched-bellied and look like they're ready to explode. I kid you not. They look like they're ready to fucking explode. Huge legs, huge arms, huge paunched belly. And I'm thinking, and they're grayed out hair and all that stuff. And of course they got the young babe on their arms. The young babe Baruni. Of course, that's the scenario out here. And what was the story I just heard from a vlogger? There was another one of those. Oh, well, it was a stereotypical situation where communication begins with a Filipina. Yeah, he was going into detail about all this shit. He was telling all these stories, whether he makes it up as he goes, but even if he made it up as he went, just to have material on the show, which a lot of people do, by the way. Though that never happens, right? The same shit about, a long-distance relationship, and of course, her phone, the screen is going out. She's going to need a new phone, or she needs a load. Oh, I've been through that with chicks that they need a load. And well, if you're going to continue to communicate with her, right, you're going to have to help the girl out, right? You're not buy a load. I mean, you want to talk to her, right? And what if she's telling the truth? Well, you wouldn't be able to communicate with her anymore. But that's some of the more common shit that happens. But the majority of the stuff that I do hear on these shows that pertain or anything related to the Philippines is that they're trying to villainize the Filipinos. 75% of the shit I hear, they're making the Filipinos the villains when they're really not. Of course, we know there are villain Filipinas, looking to make money from unsuspecting, desperate foreigners. That's commonplace. We already know that. But when I hear of how much people have lost, and they try to smooth it over on their show, well, I learned a lesson, and yeah, but they learned a lesson in the biggest way. It wasn't just like, you were sending some load money or something, or maybe you even bought them a phone. You'd have to buy them an expensive phone or something, but even that's ridiculous. But, I mean, come on, if you were like, some guys are actually sending a Filipino they never met several $1,000s a month for them to live on. Wow. Now that is crazy. I like making hummus with lentils instead of chickpeas. Yeah, I used to buy hummus in the store ready made. And when I was indulging in things like corn chips or shit like that, which I don't anymore, I would always use hummus as a dip. It's an acquired taste, but they have different types of hummus made with olive oil or whatever it might be made of, Hummus is good. Yeah, it's good. I don't know. I haven't seen it in the stores. Just make your own. I got cans of chickpeas all the time. I eat them all the time. Had it the other day. I ate a lot of chickpeas. I ate a lot of kidney beans. I ate lentils, leafy greens, broccoli up the ass. Really, just, and my broccoli's running out. I went to the store, the produce place, yesterday. Oh, and by the way, for those who have actually donated to me, yes, the other day we did go out for dinner, just me and her, and I did utilize that money for such. So, I kept my word. The kids weren't there, just me and her, and we had a decent dinner. Then yesterday, we went out. We were going to have another dinner, but then decided, I don't know, spur of the moment, let's just order 2 boxes of pizza. So I ate a shitload of pizza last night. That was a big no-no for me. They're small slices, I ate like 5 or 6, I do like pizza. It's just a shame I can't find real pizza. I can only go by what the locals make here, and there's only one place that I could eat their pizza. It's okay. Maybe I developed an acquired taste for it, but knowing that there really is no real Italian pizza places around here, there just isn't. That's a reality. There's none. Authentic New York pizza. Yeah, right. Please. I wish they'd have something like that, but it wouldn't, I don't know, it wouldn't work. You see, even in the States, if you grow up eating, Godfather's pizza and Domino's and all that, you think that's what real pizza, as a kid growing up eating that stuff, you think that's what real pizza is. That's what real pizza is supposed to taste like. Far do they know that that's not real pizza. And what really good Italian pizza tastes like. You have to know. And some people acquire the taste of, let's call it fictitious or mystery pizza, made with mystery materials. They don't know what real pizza is. So if they actually got a hold of some really New York style pizza or something, they may not like it. They may not like it because they're used to the taste of what they think is real pizza, like Domino's and shit like that. That's kind of how that works. To them, that's the real thing, man. That's hey, come on. That's real pizza. See, they don't tell me whether the dogs ate or not here. How am I supposed to know to feed them? Gosh, they just have to wait a lot. I don't want to feed them twice. They're not really active dogs. I don't want them to get too overweight or nothing here. But yeah, I like to eat good. And I'm learning to try to get creative with local food here. Now, the one thing I could eat a lot of, and it's not particularly healthy, if you find the right place that makes the shomai, I could eat shomai if it's really good. I could eat a whole plate of shomai. It just goes down really easy. You can make it with pork, chicken, whatever they want to make it with. But I still I'm very reluctant to eat anything from these stands. And I generally don't. And I don't have to go back into detail as to why. It's pretty obvious why. I try to make a point of it not to do that. After all, do you like having your stomach so upset that you feel like dying? You know, your stomach, you're puking and shitting because of something you ate that was mishandled. Food wasn't preserved right, or flies were all over it. I just can't bring myself to do that. I can't even go to a restaurant without a flies coming around. Put the fans on high to try to blow them away, but that doesn't work. So sometimes we actually have to open up a napkin and put it over something. You know, you're eating one thing and the other one's on the side. You're going to get to it. You have to put a freaking paper napkin on it with a fork to hold it down because you got the fan on. I don't like eating anything that flies have been on. I'm funny that way. But no, I generally will not eat the what do you call the calendario food, because I have no freaking clue, and neither do you. There was a guy, I heard a gross situation. Oh my God, I don't want to make you puke, but there was a guy that had one of these stands and standing over there near the food. The guy had so much lice in his hair that you could actually see it crawling around on his forehead. Oh my God. And you're going to eat the food from that stand? And then, of course, they have dogs and cats hanging around the stand. And speaking of dogs, holy crap. The typical conversation I'd be having with my girlfriend is when I'm going into town and I notice how much more dogs are around. I think there's more dogs than people here. I don't know, probably not, but if I had to estimate how many dogs were in my town alone, not all the islands of Bantayan, but in my town, I would not be surprised that there were at least, I don't know, 3,000 dogs. Oh, I'm not kidding. Oh, fried lice, the house specialty. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They'd eat that too. You got to sit out here. The culture's different. They eat things that you and I may never even think about eating in the States. They have this one meal. It's just made of blood. She had it over here. She was eating it. The kids were eating it. It's like a blood soup. And I'm like, are you serious? I couldn't even look at it. Nevertheless, eat it. As the Chinese, they can't pronounce the R. Yeah, fried lice. I got special today, fried lice. Fried lice. And it may not be far from the truth. If it's edible, they'll eat it. I mean, I'm not knocking the culture. I'm just saying the reality that, you know, they eat everything out here, pretty much. But it's a lot worse, as I understand, in other countries like Vietnam and Cambodia and places like that, China. If it has eyeballs, has legs, or anything could walk, could do it. I mean, they eat it, whether it's rats or whatever it is. I mean, people have to sustain themselves. And just imagine a society. I hate to tell you the news, but, you'd be eating that shit too if you had to. Because what if our natural resources ran out? How are you going to survive? Well, you're going to find the best recipes for ratatouille. Maybe real rats. Oh, you will. You'll eat it because you have to. That's the only way you're going to say get your protein or get something in your belly. I don't mean to gross you out, but Brisket says blood soup in many Asian countries, even raw pork blood. I don't know how they do it, man. I don't have a clue how they do that. I can't even look at it, nevertheless eat it. Oh no, 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 no. No, no, no. Girlfriend went to do some Zumba. I said, well, if you can't do Zumba all the time, at least do it at home. And sometimes she does. But I said, you're not going to get the effects you want, cardiovascular wise and otherwise, unless you do this stuff all the time. That's why I'm starting to do things a little more than I normally do. Hand weights and, yesterday, for example, instead of taking there's little things you could do. Instead of taking a trike or something to downtown, which is not, terribly far away, we walked. Novel idea, right? We walked. We walked the distance, and then we decided to take the beach route from that point on. We walked on the beach. I was looking at some very lovely homes that are right on the beach, right on the sand, privately owned, that wasn't made for resort purposes. Seen a number of people, a lot of tourists on the weekend here. It wasn't like really crowded, but there was a lot of people. And sand kind of creates a resistance too, so it's good to walk on the sand. No, I don't get all out of breath taking a long walk. Thank goodness for small miracles. I don't get out of breath. What's that? Ken Unger. I've eaten rat. You really have. And believe it or not, it didn't taste too well. You could spice up anything and it's going to taste good. You could take a clump of your own fucking shit and spice it up. It might taste good. I don't think so, but I don't want to gross you out. But you know, there's some situations you'd rather starve than eat something. But guess what? If you're really put in a bad situation, you'll eat grub from the bark of a tree, a lot of protein. You'll eat scorpions. You'll eat whatever. You'll fry up cockroaches if you have to. And you may say that now, that I would never see myself doing that. But fact is, if you're hungry enough, and hunger is a huge need, and would be very uncomfortable to actually really be hungered to the point of starvation, you're going to eat anything that's going to enable your survival. What do you think they did in the Andes? You remember that movie? It's a real life thing. When they crashed in, I think it was the Andes, and when somebody died, they had to, throw their morals or whatever out the window. It was very hard for them to make that decision, but they had to eat the flesh of one of the dead bodies of one of their passengers on the plane or their mates or something. You will do. Nobody really knows true hunger unless you're really starving, and most of us, I would tend to believe that we've never been through starvation. I certainly never have. And real starvation, your stomach will even become distended. But you're going to have hunger pains, and it would hurt. And you'll eat grass, you'll eat leaves, anything to get in your stomach. And you may say that I could never see under any circumstances, I could never see myself eating that. And guess what? You will. Yeah, I saw Alive. I saw that. There were actually two movies like that. There was one where they had a plane crash, but that was fiction. And they came across the abominable snowman. They had that one. What is a bunch of soccer players or something? There was a real life story. Maybe it was the soccer players, the real life story with the Andes Mountains. But these are, they're true stories, except one of them, as I said, the abominable snowman. They came into that. They had to dramatize it a little bit more. But yeah, I've seen Alive. I believe that was the name of it. Well, but there's another movie called Alive, but it has nothing to do with that. Another one is The Dinner Party. Oh, the Dahmer. Oh, the Dahmer Party. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. Well, that guy was sick. I wonder if he was a YouTuber. No, There's no YouTube at the time. He met his fate in prison, though. My understanding wasn't a good faith. They took care of him in prison. And that's what happens. Oh, alive was the soccer team. Okay. Do you imagine what real cold is? And you couldn't really keep warm in the fuselage of a plane. Well, it was better than being out in the open, but it was made of metal too. Aluminum or whatever they made a plane out of, and that conducts the cold, And all you could do is rumble through your belongings and find extra shirts to wear or a blanket or whatever. I hate the cold. I'd rather be too hot than too cold, because if you're too hot, you might be able to find ways to cool yourself down. But if you're in a situation where it's just cold and, you can't have a fire, there's nothing, no kindle around there, there's nothing to make a fire with, or the conditions don't allow you to light a fire, it's hard to find a way to keep warm. But if you're in a really hot situation, the opposite, you could always find shade, hopefully somewhere, or a cave, or an overhang of something where you could go in the shade and cool down. I mean, either situation's not good, but if I had the choice, well, I wouldn't want any one of them, but if I had the choice, I'd rather be in a really hot situation than a really cold, because you have more potential of finding resources to cool down in a hot situation compared to being in a snowy mountain, or, we have no way of, keeping warm, and that wouldn't be the scenario I would ever want to like. Ken Unger says, not Jeffrey. Okay, John, this was a group of people heading out west in the 1800s, and they got stuck in a blizzard and ate the dead to live. Imagine that you have to live through that, too. That's really hard. Because people are going to ask you, how did you survive this situation? And then they're going to figure, put two and two together, they must have ate the dead bodies. Hey, look, you and I might do the same damn thing. You may say now that there's no freaking way that I'm going to eat the flesh of a dead human. But you have to understand there's some terms of survival. You're still an animal. You're a human animal. Animals eat each other. We eat animals. Because we talked about the food chain. A human is just another animal. And you're going to eat that animal if you have to. Just because, we're human, we develop these morals and different things that you simply don't eat other people. But cannibalism is something that's been going on historically since there's been two-legged humans, or whatever you want to call them. They weren't, early man, since the beginning of time, when there was man walking on the earth. I mean, that's going on. There used to be tribes here in the Philippines that would do that. And they say that in some places there's still headhunters, or they might even eat human meat. Here in the Philippines, out in the mountains. You know what's going on, brother. There's still practices as such. I don't know how much that's going on, but my understanding is that it still might be happening. There was stories about in China and places like that, they had human parts hanging from a hook, like you'd hang a big prosciutto or something, in a butcher shop or something, or cheese. I'm not thinking you're seeing that anymore, but I heard how true that is, I don't know. Maybe in a more very local, remote market. But would I be surprised if that happened? No. I wouldn't be surprised one bit. People eat to survive, and you're going to do something that you never would ever dreamed of doing in your lifetime. How gross it might be, but meat is meat, and if you're starving, pal. And if you're in a situation like in the Andes, you have loving, you want to go home. You want to make it home. You want to be with your loved ones. You want to be with your family. You got a job, you got a life, you got a family. Well, guess what? better than good chance that you're going to eat that human flesh. You may say now that just ain't going to happen, Jack. But you'd be lying to yourself. It's north of Lake Tahoe. Oh, Kiki says some Filipinos will eat anything. Look at George from Antics. Heidi brags he's a pro with his tongue. Barf. Okay, we don't need to get into that. Don't gross me out. Haven't even eaten this morning yet. Hey, look, there's a lot you could say about a lot of people's shows on here. There's a lot you could say. You don't have to agree with everybody's content on here, but you don't have to force yourself to listen to it either, whether it's my show or somebody else's, you know. That's just the way it is. Shame on you if you force yourself to listen to somebody's show and you always try to find fault with somebody's show, but yet you still listen, don't you? You still listen. There's no excuse for that. And don't make one. You don't like somebody, you don't have to listen to their channel. As simple as that. I can choose who I want to listen to. I've got that choice. And so do you. Excuse me a second. Cortisone cream and a bug bite. All right. You make those choices, not me. I don't make it for you. You got to make it for yourself. You don't like somebody's channel, don't listen. And there's actually some people's channels I'll never go back to. Although I found them interesting at one point. Because if I listen to them again, it's like the same shit over and over I'm hearing. They're just rehashing old hashes, what they're doing. Whether it's the cost of living in the Philippines, and of course Filipinas are a major topic on here. And you know, beware of Filipinas, what they're going to do to you. Well, that's a stereotype. It's not far from the truth, because there are Filipinos that take advantage of you in a major way. But it's really up to you to be smart enough to realize if somebody's taking advantage of you. That's your responsibility, nobody else's, man. That's yours and only yours. So don't complain if you get screwed over by a Filipina. Just, everybody's in a rush. I went through that once, I know. Everybody's in a rush. Oh, I gotta get together with her, and you're gonna jump into it head first. You know, you'll be buying her all these gifts, you're gonna be doing all this shit. That's your doing, man. Spend the time to get to know the Filipina. Do a little research, man. If you're gonna invest your time and money and emotion into somebody, spend the time to know what you're getting into. And what's happening a lot on YouTube is that people are definitely trying to convince other people not to come to this country because they all feel like they're going to be taken advantage of. And does it happen? Of course it happens. You don't know what you're getting into unless you investigate. But you have to spend, come on. You got to spend time in person, a couple of months, whatever it is, to really get to know, because you can't really know somebody with an LDR type of shit. You just can't. You don't even know if that's the same person you're talking to. You don't. Could be somebody else. And likelihood, you're probably not the only you're probably not the only person, foreigner, that these Filipinos are talking to. And, self-preservation. I always push that, self-preservation. They got to survive. And sometimes their parents tell them, or their husbands tell them to go on there. Hey, come on, we got to make some more money. Hey, here's a good sap. Why don't you try this guy? He looks desperate enough. And then what they do, and here's the secret to all this and how they do it. They will try to build up an emotional bond with you. That's how they catch you. They want to get you emotionally involved with them. When you hit that point, because I did it once, I did it. I most certainly did. In the beginning with somebody, and they try to build up that emotional bond, and this way you give in to all their wants and needs. Now, fortunately for me, it was very minimal. So I don't have any big horror stories to share, nothing really grandiose. But nevertheless, you have to be smart enough to know what you're getting into. You know, everybody and their grandmother, they're all sharing these stories. What happened to this guy because he believed this, believed that, whatever. You just got to be smart. You don't have to go all the way to the Philippines to be catfished. Kennecker says, no, China's not selling human meat for consumption. I wouldn't be surprised if some villages did, maybe in the past. I don't know. Invisible Friend says, no, you don't have to go all the way to the Philippines to be catfished. No, it happens everywhere, man. But, you know, they give Filipinos a really bad name. I think in general, Filipinos mean well. But it does come sometimes to a point where their financial situation gets so bad. Hey, I went through this with one of the women. There was two that sort of took advantage of me. There's one that lived over in Carmen area. In fact, it's been so long I forgot her freaking name. And she was trying to take advantage. It was the same thing with the phone. Well, we can't talk. I mean, I can't see you because I got a big black spot in the middle of the screen. So I bought her a new phone. She was even live when she was at the store with a friend buying it. And I made sure it was it was not an expensive phone, so if I was going to get fucked over on this, I wouldn't have got that badly fucked over. But she pulled some things on me that one time we were doing a live, Skype, whatever I think it was. She wouldn't come on the camera. Nope. She didn't want to put her face on the camera. I said, well, why are you not on camera? And she was upset. In fact, she was crying. Why was she crying? Because internally she was a good person and she felt guilt that she was taking advantage of me on the phone and some other shit. And she, that was the first time that ever happened that way, where the chick actually felt guilty for what she did. Now, fortunately for me, and it's not the case for everybody, but fortunately for me, I didn't have a big expenditure on her. Fortunately for me. So I never really got slam banged by anybody in a big way financially. But I'm, you know, maybe one of the few that got away with spending very little. But what you do is you learn from your mistakes. That's all. You build up on it. Yeah, it could be a Nigerian dude with a beard. You don't know who you're talking to. Expats go for the wrong Filipinas. This magnifies the stereotypes. I don't see this aging well. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Oh yeah, Nigeria. It's like the center point of scams, Nigeria. No question about it. I had a Nigerian dude that was working with me in Seattle, the Parks Department. And I don't know, he couldn't find women or nothing, because a lot of the women who were of the same race would date gentlemen of the same race, but they had this thing about guys with really, really dark skin. I mean, black skin. And they wouldn't date him. But this guy also, he was trying to steal a microwave and was trying to, I forgot what else he did. I don't think he lasted in the United States very long. I don't think he stayed with the department. But he was scamming. Superman's on here. When I met some Filipinas over there, it was amazing how many of them needed dental work and have teeth pulled. Yeah, exactly. All right, why don't you try this, folks? Let's turn the tables a little bit here. You are a Filipina in this country, or Filipino, either one. We're talking about Filipinas. Let's just stick to that. And you know, your family is extremely poor, can't afford medicine, and like you said, her kid gets a bad toothache, suffering, or something happens to them, or an accident, and they just don't have the money. Because you love your family, because you love your child, you're going to do whatever it is. You'll feel the guilt later on. You'll suck up the guilt later, or some of them don't. But they're going to do something you're not going to like. Okay? They're going to do something you're not going to like. But at the moment, it works for them. And a lot of Filipinas and Filipinos, they are forced, unfortunately, into a situation like this, where they mean well. They weren't really out in the beginning to fuck you over. Not all of them were doing that. People just classify them all the time as doing this shit to people, but not all of them are that bad. They're not. They're not that bad. But sometimes, you know, you get into a situation in your family where, man, you gotta do something. If it means, you know, pulling a little flim-flam scam or something on somebody you have to do, then chances are they're going to do it. If they have a conscience, you know, they'll feel bad about it later on, like this one chick did, you know. I'm not kidding. She was crying on camera. It's a real story. I didn't make this up, like some people. It's a real story. God, I don't know what this is under my cabinet. It just smells so moldy, musty under the kitchen cabinet. I can't figure out why. Anyway, that's another subject. I'm looking for my strainer right now. Pardon me, I'm kind of multitasking. I do that occasionally. Actually, I do that a lot. Where? Oh, there it is. It's hanging up right in front of me. I gotta strain these lentils. Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? So hold on a second, folks. Things to do. I can't do everything without putting the phone down. I'm just straining my lentils. There's brown shit coming out of it. Soil or just a coloration of the lentils. Now I'm still going to have to probably add fresh water to this and strain it with the fresh water. Just give me a minute or two. Got to strain this to get all the water out. You can see all the discoloring coming out of here. And yes, that's my breakfast. I'm having lentils. You got that right. No eggs, no toast. I'm having lentils. I'll put a little pepper in it. Touch of salt, which I don't hardly touch. And butter, of course. I may like vegetables, but they got to have some flavor to it, you know, spice or something. Almost done here, so kind of deal with me for the moment. I'm not going to be on too much longer. Because there's something I need to do. And I got to do it today. Okay, so where's my bowl? Et voila, that's what I'm doing. I gotta get some butter. I like to go easy on the butter, but the sucker has to be flavored. I can eat regular lentils, but I definitely prefer to have some kind of something in there to make it more palatable. Take a little black pepper, take a tinge, the tingiest tinge of sea salt. There we go. Sometimes I don't think I get enough salt. And I'm pretty much, here we go. There we go. I'm pretty much done. There you go. Brown lentils. Breakfast. You're not seeing wrong. There's nothing wrong with your screen. I control the vertical and horizontal. A little black pepper, a tinge of sea salt. And actually, I'm missing one thing. One thing. Hit the like button, yeah. I'm going to put, where is it? Some garlic. I'm going to put some garlic in this bad boy. As I said, for extra flavor, man, you know. And garlic is good for you anyway, so, you know. There we go. Now I got some garlic in here too. And you're probably saying, seriously, man, what are you, a health freak or something? Not totally. But I like to eat things that, you know, like if I was Nico or somebody, you know, or John Blaze, I'd be having some pork fat for breakfast or something, but I'm not them. Or eat some Oreos for breakfast. That's not who I am. Now that's all stirred up, got a little garlic, a little black pepper, a tinge of sea salt, garlic in there. There's only one thing left that I did not put in here, and we're still not done. Just a tiniest bit of olive oil. There we go. Not too much, not too much. Now I'm done. Now I am done, and this is a healthy meal. Now I am done. Done and done and done. And there we go. Let's see how this sucker tastes. And by the way, you can make like patties out of, just like you do with garbanzo beans. You can make a hummus out of this. You can make lentil burgers. Let's see, it tastes like. Ah, perfect. Like Jay does when he sucks on his cigarette. Let me can say, true Superman, I've invested in a lot of dental work at a field. So, yeah, we know what you mean. It is 5-star. Some people just don't like lentils. My father used to be able to make something out of lentils I could never reproduce today. Never will. But we did as Italians, but not just Italians. Each flavor it up. Maybe there's tomato sauce in there. There was all this stuff. And we would break up a piece of ordinary sliced bread. And we'd break it up into pieces. And we would mix it in with the lentils. It tasted really good. And what that was actually for, too, served another purpose. It extended your meal. Just as having, like, rice as a filler, this bread was to be a filler. To extend your meal. And a lot of people do that. In fact, some people, they will make hamburgers. And I've done this many times. And instead of using all the meat, you might mix it with breadcrumbs to extend it out. You know, you could do whatever you want with it, really. But that was not uncommon for me. I would make hamburgers, and I would have like Italian seasoned breadcrumbs that I would mix it in. So it was not a pure beef patty. And you could do that with lentils or anything else too. You can do that with your beef. You do anything you want. There's many mornings I've had red kidney beans for breakfast. The other day I had a big bowl of broccoli for my lunch. Of course, yesterday I cheated, and I do cheat. I had a shitload of pizza. As to one earlier comment on the show, they said pretty much, live your life, man. Live your life. Eat whatever you want to eat. Oh, yeah. Hamburger helper. This one says this. Come on, Frank. I can't take health advice from someone who smokes, just like I don't drive advice from a blind man. Well, it's like this. It's like this. I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying, invisible friend. I don't disagree with you. But the point is, why do more things to your body? Why not try to balance things out as best as you can until you decide to quit your drinking or smoking, whatever it is, and still do healthy things for your body? It's better than not. I guess that's my point. It's better than not. Okay, you hear me? Are you hearing me? It's better than not. You could just totally fall apart and do everything the wrong way. Right? That's your choice. Like a lot of these people do, especially on here. I tell people I'm still smoking. I don't leave that out. You probably say, well, you're a hypocrite. Not really. Because I've always was not afraid to tell people that I generally have a healthy diet, but I do have one vice. A lot of us have vices. But sometimes you got to compensate for things you do. And there's a reason. It's better to just quit. That would be the answer. Yes. You didn't make the statement, but I'm making that statement. It's better just to quit. But if you're still doing what you're doing, the whole idea behind all this is that in the interim, you're still either drinking or smoking, which I don't drink, as you all know. And I really mean it. I don't touch alcohol. We thought about getting some red wine, but I don't know. But do something good for your body is all I'm saying. Amongst all the bad that you're presently doing in your body. Keep your immune system strong. That's the thing. If you're doing some bad to your body, it doesn't mean that you can't also do some good. Make sense? So yeah, I would sound like a hypocrite for sure. Oh yeah, you take all these vitamins. Well, there's a reason why I take supplements. There's a reason. A good reason. It's because of the reason that I smoke. And yes, I know it's easy to say, well, just don't smoke anymore, dude. Gotcha. Well, that's hard sometimes. Of course, quitting is best, invisible friend. But there's nothing wrong with trying to do something good to your body rather than, inundating your liver with alcohol or your lungs with fucking smoke. And I'm not making no excuses. All you have to do is walk around the goddamn environment and you're smoking whether you like it or not. That does not mean secondhand smoke from another smoker. Especially out here in the Philippines. Walk out the door. I got news for you, pal. You're smoking. Whether you like it or not. Your lungs are not pearly red or whatever they're supposed to be. I'll put a guarantee on that. They did an autopsy on you today. You died. And you never smoked a damn cigarette in your life. In your life. I guarantee you, your lungs are not going to be pearly red or whatever. They're not. They're simply not, especially if you live in a big city. Now again, I'm not making excuses for the wrong that I do with doing this shit to my body. In fact, I'm going to have a smoke right now. Do you mind? At least I'm not blowing into your face on camera. Right, Jay? You can hear my lighter. Want to hear my lighter? As Jay says. Mmm. But he means it, though. I mean, a cigarette to him and a fucking glass of alcohol is like, man, this is refreshing. Oh, and just on an anecdote to this. No, I don't smoke 3 packs a day, like some people say. How would they know that? I don't even smoke a whole goddamn cigarette. I'm the biggest waster. And considering how the prices are going up on these things now, you know what they are right now? $1.80 is the lowest. And one store is trying to really super profit, and they're selling for 200 pesos per pack. How much do I smoke? That's the other question. I buy about a pack a day. Of that pack, sometimes I buy 2 packs, but one for the next day. Out of that pack, I take maybe 4 drags. Maybe if I'm pushing it, I take 5. And then what do? I throw it out. Well, smoking is still smoking, okay? I got you, you know. Although you're not making that statement to me, I'll just beat you to the punch. Smoking right now. Second drag. And basically, it's more of a nervous habit than anything else. Sure, I get disgusted with smoking. But here's what happens all the time if you do smoke or drink. This is a common scenario for those non-smokers out there. And good for you if you're not a smoker. When you run out of cigarettes, you're not thinking. You run out. If somebody's going to the store, hey, go get me a pack. You haven't, what you should do is when you run out, don't have anybody buy anymore, don't you buy anymore. But then you're going to have to face the night, and the next morning when you wake up, and guess what? You have no cigarettes. The best scenario, of course, is just fight your urge. But you know what? It's easier said than done. Ask the guy that's in jail who supposedly quit smoking, but he still had to do something, so he's vaping. And vaping isn't too much better than cigarettes. I don't know if anybody's told you about that, but it is no better than cigarettes. You go to vaping and say, well, I don't smoke anymore. Well, you're not smoking cigarettes, but there's still nicotine in there. And there's other chemicals in there. And if you already got asthma, you have COPD of some level. There's different definitions of COPD, by the way. Vaping is not going to help you. I'm just saying, you could attack me if anybody wants, but I'm just saying, vaping is not the answer. You just quit, period. Fuck the vaping. Let me finish my Lent, not much left here. Get my iron, gotta get my iron. And protein. It's not the answer. All right, I'm done. I left a little bit. See? A rim. No, I never do. Because that means I'll definitely be smoking more. I wouldn't want to waste the money. Invisible Friend says, I remember Robert Blake, the actor, used to carry a small wood dowel the size of a cigarette because he had to touch it, but had stopped smoking years ago. It's a fixation. You want to have something in your mouth other than somebody's dick, in case you go in that direction. It's an oral fixation is what it is. Anyway, this show is not about smoking, but since we're bringing this up, I'm just kind of relaying to you how I feel. Yeah, I take full responsibility. Full and complete responsibility as to what I put in my body. You know what the next step is? And why do I do this? I'm going to show you something. Welcome to my office. Oh, this is nothing. I'll take nattokinase, which actually will prevent further, it's according to how much you take. Artery, problems with plaque. No, I don't take a multi. I take my D3, not 50,000 like John Blaze, but I take 10,000 IUs. You're out of your fucking mind. I take alpha lipoic acid. I take fish oil. I take more alpha. I take resveratrol, which is like having like 150 glasses of wine and the chemistry that comes in that. Okay? Besides eating regular blueberries, which I'm going to have, I take a blueberry concentrate. I also take garlic oil soft gels. Magnesium citrate. Okay? I ran out of CoQ10. That's the most expensive vitamin you could buy. I ran out of CoQ10 for the heart. I take that too. And sometimes I'll take my glucosamine for the bones and, with MSM in it. And I take L-citrulline, which helps create nitric oxide in your blood. That'll make your heart on even better. And it's for blood circulatory system, my friends. Okay? I take quercetin. And you have to look this baby up because this baby's not cheap either. And guess what? I am getting, today or tomorrow. And let's not forget the vitamin C. I take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, which I haven't taken. So I will collect these supplements after I get off the show here. The woman who's a guy from Switzerland, a friend of mine, he passed away. She has, I would think it's for what she's willing to give me, free, gratis. Because me and him used to sit down and I seen all the supplements. I said, you know what, man, I take the same shit that you do. So we discussed this. And as it turned out, we went to see her for the viewing the other day. She says, well, wait till it's over in a couple of days. And I said, yeah, no problem, just contact me. She comes out with a huge, one of those plastic storage containers, chock full of supplements. In fact, most of the stuff I would normally take. In fact, I was just going to order some lycopenes, good for the lungs, from Lasada, but he had plenty of it. He had how many bottles of prostate health medicine? And he had more to last him forever, but he was dying. But he still ordered it. As I was there, a package came in. No story here. A package came in, and guess what was in it? Same prostate health medication. He just liked to order stuff because he had a lot of money. I mean, we're not talking in peso. This guy had, he was a millionaire, period. Well, comes from Switzerland, And his family didn't even have to help the funeral shit because they knew that he was leaving money to her, everything. And he was married, by the way, to a Filipina, by the way. But anyway, back to the supplements. She comes out with this thing. I'm looking at her. I said, I'm like, a kid in a candy store. You would have seen my face. Oh, fuck, yeah, I need that. Oh, yeah, I take that too. Oh, shit, you have this? Perfect. Lycopene, this, that. Heart health stuff. I'm saying, holy shit. Like a kid in a candy store, man. And she said, well, wait a couple of days. Of course, I didn't want to just, hit and run. The guy's still there in the room being displayed. Have some respect. Jesus, have some respect. Oh, can I take it now? No, I didn't do that. I respected her wishes. I didn't ask her for those vitamins, supplements. But she came out with it. She says, come back in a couple of days. I said, no, just call me. He says, take what you want. And I'm not going to take all of it. I'm going to take what I need, and she could give that to relatives or friends or whatever she wants to do. I'm not going to be greedy about it. I will only take, and only one of each, even though she has triple of certain supplements. I'm not going to be greedy and say, I'm going to take all of this. And if she wants to give me all of it, I'll take it. We're talking thousands of dollars worth of supplementation. They're not cheap. And some of this stuff, she even had the CoQ10, for God's sakes, that I've been wanting to buy, which is probably one of the most expensive supplements that you could actually buy for heart health and circulation. Amazing, huh? Kiki says, do you find Fazio took his meds anally, like he did every day? I don't know. Mike Ross, is he in here? Of course, he retracted his message, Mr. Hit and Run. Mr. Hit and Run. Yeah. I like to see what you said. I wasn't. What did Mike Ross say, by the way, that he hit his message? What did he say? Okay, so now you understand where I'm coming from health wise. Yes, it's a no. It's a baddie that I would touch nicotine or tobacco. Period. I get it. It's my bad. Maybe not yours. It's my bad. But the point I'm trying to make is that at least try to compensate, keep your body on a cellular level healthy, so that you know it's like immunotherapy to fight these deoxidated stress in your body that comes from the element or the environment, whether you smoke or drink or you know the carbon you're breathing in, all this shit that all of us go through every single day, other than smoking. The main thing is to keep you want to preserve your metabolic function in your body. And when you have inflammation, that's what causes other problems with your other organs. You want to take foods or supplements that will help with inflammation. Now, inflammation doesn't just mean your ankles swell up or whatever. There's a whole inflammatory thing that goes on in your body that affects all your organs. And you want to control the inflammatory reactions in your body is what you want to do. That's why I do this stuff. I hope it makes sense to you now. Now you do got to watch what you take. You got to make sure there's not a lot of oxalates in it. Those are things that can cause kidney stones. That's why I reduce my intake of vitamin C. And there's certain things I don't take, but I have to compensate by drinking a lot more water. Okay? Yeah, I've smoked for a long time, since maybe started out in mostly college. I didn't smoke a lot. I'd carry a pack around. It was a Marlboro at the time, was popular. God, I hate that shit. Yeah, I've been exposed to a lot of years of this shit. Oh yeah, I'm sure my lungs are not pearly red or whatever, you know. I made it to my age, I must have been doing something right. You gotta understand, I've been doing this shit, supplementation, for like, I don't know. I'm just gonna throw a number out there. 45 years? Might be while I'm still alive. Tell you the truth, it might very well be. Even Bummer said, well, without wishing me death or something, somebody was saying on there, he said, well, fuck I know. He can live to be 100 years old just because he's 70. Well, it's the only thing he's right about, that. My uncle's still alive, which reminds me, okay, I got to call, man, I should have called him later last night. He's over 100, going on 101. And I talk to him, try to talk to him once a week. You know, and he had a shitty diet. He ate anything. It didn't eat him. Traditional pasta all the time as an Italian. You know, he did all that stuff. Even fast food. He made it to over 100 years old. There's good genes on my father's side. I'm not talking about Wrangler. And I don't know what's more important, the paternal or maternal side. There's actually some controversy on that genetically. But it's good to have one side of the family that has longevity, because all his sisters live to be 80 and 90, almost 100. And he's over 100 already, which is like, you know, that's pretty notable shit to live to be 100 years old and still maintain your mental, sharpness, really. And he's sharp as a pin. Okay, Stephen says, it does amaze me in today's world to see young people smoking, knowing the facts is what smoking may cause. There's some people that smoke till they're 100 years old. It just has to do with special genetics. It's rare, by the way, but there are people that have special genetics. Now, my mother smoked like a chimney, and she definitely died from lung cancer. There's no question about that. My father smoked Luckies, but didn't smoke as much as, and without filters, he didn't smoke as much as my mother did. I don't know how they afforded her packs every day, to be honest with you. My father, it was mostly prostate cancer. Well, that's what it really was. Had the smoke cleared, excuse me expression, as the smoke cleared, I found out it was prostate cancer. It wasn't lung. And he would have lived a lot longer than 73. I think he was 73, 74 when he died. That's why I'm always careful about the prostate, get exams, get your PSA test and stuff like that. I'm due to go back again. Even if I have to get a digital exam, it's not, something I want to do. And the last time I did that with a doctor, I said, I know this is not a pleasant task for you, sir. He goes, well, it's probably really not, but that's part of my job. Yeah. Yeah. Well, my brother smoked, practically chain smoked until the time he quit smoking. Then he quit drinking, but he went back to drinking. Smoking, he hasn't smoked. He's passed away now, but he hasn't smoked, oh God, how many years? And he told me, and I know he did, he chain smoked. Absolutely. But everything else caught up with him, He wasn't taking supplements, he wasn't eating right, developed a lot of problems, and he's gone. He lived to be 72. Now, considering everything he did to himself, it was, if there was such thing as a miracle, that was maybe a divine miracle that happened to him to live to be 72, because even he said, I didn't have to say it, every year that came by his birthday, it's going to be my last, going to be my last Christmas, going to be my last. And he said that for years. And I was thinking to myself, saying, wow, if he could make it to his next birthday, I'd be shocked. Or another Christmas. But I'd encourage him and say, no, man. You'll be all right. Let's just don't do the things you're doing. But he didn't listen to me. And he did die for a lot of complications. Probably have to do with the lungs, because his oxygen level was O2. On a normal level, it was extremely low. The best he was getting was in his low 80s. And you can't live long. Put an oximeter on there or other blood tests, you can see that his blood oxygen was really low. He's supposed to be on his oxygen all day, but he didn't. And that's probably what did him in, besides diabetes and just too much. Okay, we're not going to be on it too much longer, as I see the numbers are starting to go down a little bit here, and I got to proceed with some other things I need to do. I need to shower up. I already ate my lentils. I got to take my supplements first. And you see what I take, right? But that's not it. Oh, no. I ran out of CoQ10. But I'm getting a gifting of this wonderful lady who was basically leaving me with a lot of vitamins from her expired husband. And she knew we used to have conversations about that. I said, you take all this shit? I said, you take a lot more than I do, dude. And there will be things I'll need, like lycopene, which comes basically a chemical that's in a tomato. Concentrated, though. I'm definitely going to be grabbing a lycopene. I need lycopene. I haven't taken that for a while. Other things for prostate health. I mean, there's a lot of shit in there. CoQ10, the most expensive. According with the milligrams of CoQ10, that stuff can run you... Shit, it can run you $100 a bottle according to the strength. So basically, I'm getting probably a couple of $1,000 American dollars worth of supplements for zero. And I told her, I say, man, I'll offer to pay you for this. But she don't need my money. She don't need my money. This guy has left her very well off, I might say. Very well off. I can't tell you how much, but it's certainly in the millions of American dollars. And plus the house she's living in, it's not fancy, but it's nice. And a house next door she gets rent from. And she's very well off. She knows it. And I really don't see her as a money grubber. She truly did love this man. He was 82 years old, and she's only like, 30 or something, or 35, I don't know. Nice girl. Nice girl, very nice personality, very friendly. She even told me she's got it's pretty old. It's a 2004 Toyota, kind of an SUV. Has a cotillion miles on it. So anytime you want to use that, just use it and take it. I said, thanks, no, but, that means I have to go get licensed up again and all that shit and all that, and gasoline money and maintenance and all that. She didn't care. It's covered with a tarp. She don't use it. She don't use it at all. I could take that SUV anytime I want and practically call it my own. Although it's really a lending situation. But if I really wanted to get that off her, I probably could. But I'm not really interested in, well, I have a semi-interest, but shit, I'm getting older, you know? Maybe my reflex is not as good as it used to be. If I got to carry my family in there, I don't want that responsibility. You want me to be honest with you? I don't want that responsibility. I like driving, but, you know, I wouldn't be driving in Cebu anyway, these places. I could not drive in that traffic. And just to use it around town, we get along fine. We got an electric trike. I could take my regular trike driver. Anywhere I need to go in town, I don't need a vehicle. And I just don't want that responsibility. If I made a mistake and I hit somebody, even a dog, I'd feel bad. If I had hurt, not to mention the legal ramifications of that in the Philippines, forget about it. As us New Yorkers like to say, forget about it. I don't want that kind of trouble, man. It's very easy. It's not if you're going to get into an accident sometime, if you drive a car or a motorcycle. It's more like when it's going to happen, not if. And personally, I made it to my age right now. I made it this far. I'd like to make it just a little bit longer. A lot longer if I can. And I just don't feel, and maybe if people can relate with me or not, I don't know. I just don't want that responsibility. Sure, inclement weather, it'd be nice to have a car you could jump in. Sure, we got a trike. It has things come down on the side, you know, protect the rain. I mean, we have that. We have that. And it works for us. And someone said that he don't even drive it. I drove it a couple of times. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing, whether it's a car or electric bike. I simply don't want the responsibility of carrying any of my family members around out here. And whether it's caused by myself or caused by somebody else, I don't want to put them in that position. Or to myself. I just don't want to do that. That's called being responsible, in case you're wondering what the definition of what I'm talking about, or the whole ideology of what I'm talking about. It's called being responsible to yourself and being responsible to the members of your family. What if I blacked out? What if I had a fucking stroke? You know? Whatever. I don't want that responsibility. Now, I do have to take public transportation like trikes, and they can make a mistake too, or somebody else can make a horrible mistake. It's a chance I take, but it's not a chance I want to take on driving my own mobile. I just don't want to go there. You either understand that or you don't. I don't give a shit if you do anyway. I'm just saying, that's what I do. Okay, it's about that time to get off here. Yes, I do. And I also take, before I go to bed, I take a half a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil. I take some Bertolli. Green bottle, not a clear bottle. Because if you have a clear bottle, then the efficacy of the olive oil is not going to be good. It's going to deteriorate. So when you go to the store, free information, not charging you nothing. I'm not asking for a Gcash. When you go to the store and you want to buy some olive oil, take a bottle that's not a clear plastic. It could be brown, it could be green like this. Okay? That's what you want to buy. Yes, you're going to pay a lot of money for it. If you can't afford it, then you can't afford it. Don't buy it. But when you can, it can last a long time. You take a half a teaspoon before you go to bed. Why, you ask? Even though you're not asking, I'm going to tell you why, whether you like it or not. There's a 25 to 30% chance of not getting a heart attack overnight if you take this. There's your answer. Okay? And you want to do everything you can to prevent that. Because most heart attacks happen in the wee hours of the morning up until 10 o'clock a.m. That's when most heart attacks happen. Okay? Did you learn something? I hope you did. And I don't charge anything for the knowledge. You can take my advice or you don't take my advice. I'm doing these things for myself, not for you, but I will take the time to share information and things that I have personally learned. And if it helps somebody out, then I help somebody out. All right? I'm not asking for, charging for consultations. I'm not a doctor, but I get a real trip out of listening to some of these shows that are doing consults to people for like $75 or something. And maybe they haven't even lived in the Philippines a long time, like Jasper, and he's giving consults about women of all things. Like I said, on YouTube, it takes all kinds of people. Now, you've been listening a lot on YouTube, and you're a pretty avid listener of YouTube. You know exactly what I am talking about, don't you? Later, guys.